Not to be dramatic or anything, but I mean, who am I kidding? I kind of am. This is gonna be the last video that you'll see of me with long hair. Actually, see, I'm getting it cut on Friday. And so actually by the time that this video is going up, I'll be heading there in a few hours. So we will see. We will see. As I was like crashing out last week about it because I feel like it's thinning, which not, I feel like I've looked back at old videos, my hair has thinned. I do not know why. And it's just so like dead. It's so lifeless. I know it needs to go. And I know it'll feel so much healthier, but like I'm thinking like literally like collarbone length. Like I haven't had my hair cut that short since probably like middle school. Like I'm a long haired girl, but this is literally like all my hair pulled to the front and it's so thin. When did I get thin hair? I don't know. It had me losing my mind last week. But anyways, that's not what we're here for today. What we are here for is to talk about my top 10, my favorite heroes in books of all time. I don't know if I've done a previous video like this, but I actually have like a set ready to come out. I'm doing top 10 heroes, top 10 heroines, and then top 10 couples. And all of them will have honorable mentions because it's so hard to narrow it down to 10. Like this was really tricky. So I have, you know, my 10, and then I do have my list of honorable mentions. And then also as a little fun thing in each of them, I'm also going to be including which of like my books, characters, couples, you know, whatever I would put in here. So I do have my favorite hero that I've personally written, or like my kind of like book boyfriend out of mine. And yeah, so that's kind of like what this list is. I guess it does kind of cross over into like book boyfriends, but it is also just like, you know, heroes, whatever. 10 of my favorite dudes from books, okay? Anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. These are in literally no particular order. I just like jotted them down here on my little slip of paper. So we'll save honorable mentions for last, but these are my top 10. So first up off the pile, we have Mr. Richard Connor Cobalt from Kiss the Sky by Krista and Becca Ritchie. Honestly, Lo almost made this list too. He almost did, but I was really trying to limit myself with only one character per like series even. So you'll see that coming up here later. There are some series that are my die-hard favorites like these where I love so many of the main characters, but I had to pick one. And like, if I'm picking between all of the heroes of that, it's gonna be Richard Connor Cobalt. Like, listen, I love this man. He's just like charisma. Like, I feel like if you look that up in the dictionary, his picture would be right there next to it. He's so smart. He's so hot. He's rich. Him owning a diamond company, and then when he buys Rose that diamond necklace, and you know, listen, also the way that he defends her, the way that he stands up for Rose, like he lets her stand up for herself because he knows that she's an incredibly strong woman and he is so comfortable being with such a strong woman, which also kudos to you because not every man is like that. But the way that he just supports Rose, but then also like if he sees that he needs to like step in and defend his woman, he is not afraid to. And everything that happens over the course of the series to him, especially in Fuel the Fire, oh, I would like go to bat for this man. I love his character so much. I think he's such a great like grounding force, especially early on in the Addicted Calloway Sisters series. Like in the first books before we even get to, this is technically like number 4 in the reading order, but even before we get to his book, I feel like he's a bit of comedic relief almost at times, but he also is just such like a grounding force for Lily and Lo, which I absolutely love. And yeah, of course he was going on this list. I feel like actually a lot of these you guys are not going to be surprised by. I feel like actually there is one that made my top 10 that you guys are going to be surprised by because he is nowhere near my which I have like my taste varies so greatly, but he is very far away from the other men, but we'll get to him when we get to him. But next up, again, I feel like when you guys clicked on this video, if you've been here for a while, you knew he was going to be on here. That's Kai Mori from Hideaway by Penelope Douglas. This is the second book in the Devil's Night series, and this is my favorite book of the series. And again, an instance where I would have loved to have had Damon on this list as well, but if I'm having to choose just one, it is going to be Kai. I absolutely love him. I think specifically I love so much the peaks of him that we get in Corrupt and just seeing how like sad he is, but almost like that quiet anger, that quiet just like seething rage that he has inside of him that he keeps on lock. Like there are characters like Damon who are not afraid to show their emotions or their volatility, but he keeps it all like bottled up inside so much, so then when it explodes, it's like so much more gratifying in my opinion to then see that and see a character who does his best to keep his cool absolutely lose his ever-loving mind. I love that. And that's exactly what you get with Kai. I love like the quiet ones. Once again, he is with an incredibly strong woman, and the way that he is not threatened by her strength, but instead empowered by it. Listen, I love this man. I love him. I knew it started back in the club scene in Corrupt, and then the sauna scene sealed it. And then when I read this, it was over for, especially when him and I can't even get into it. When they're searching the hotel, you know, and they find the forbidden, like, or the secret layer room that they think Damon's staying in. And like things finally boil over between the two of them. Oh, he's such a sweetheart. He's such like an angry little sweetheart. And I love him so much. Just seeing his character development, I can't. Okay. We're moving on, because otherwise I will just sit here and just repeat the phrase, I love him so much, over and over again about all of these, which obviously, you know that. This is a top 10 video. That's safe to say. Next up, another oldie but a goodie for 5 years strong. This man, actually, I think I might have first read these back in 2019, like at the very end of 2019. I don't know. Basically 5 years strong, 6 years strong. This man has been going with me consistently. John Logan from The Mistake. I know I'm so excited about the TV show series as well, but I'm honestly like, I almost don't, like, I want to see it happen. But I'm also just very, you know, I have just such an image in my head of these characters in this world, and I just don't want anything to disrupt it. Because once you like put real people and like tie them into a project, you can't see the old versions that you used to have in your head of these characters. And this man in my head is just, he's just such a sweet little baby. I'm sorry, when he goes to Grace's dad and breaks down crying, men can cry. I love that. I feel like that it endears a lot of women to them even more when they're not afraid to show their emotions. And I love that. That scene like solidified it for me, but also the groveling that this man does for Grace, like top tier. He just wants her. He's down bad for her, and it's incredible. But also he's a hockey player, and that's hot. I don't know. I love everything about Logan. And also like his humor. He's like a funny kind of guy too. Oh, I would take any crumbs of these two that we will get forever and always from Mount Kennedy. Actually, so I haven't read The Charlie Effect yet, but I was really hoping that their daughter was going to eventually get a book, which I don't think she is, sadly, but I would have ate that up. Next up, I wish he was in here. I can hear him out there playing. He was just in here, but I am including 2 fantasy men on here, but again, only one from each series, which is hard to pick, but we have Dorian Havillard from the Throne of Glass series. This is the 4th book in the series. I picked it out because I feel like, obviously, you get to see so much of Dorian. He's a character from book 1. Like, he's not like some characters where they don't come into play until later in the series. He's literally in all of the books except for 7, which is Tower of Dawn, and I guess Assassin's Blade too, whatever. He's in all the, like, main story books. But I feel like Queen of Shadows is where we really start to see, you know, some zest come out of that man. And listen, I love so many character arcs in the Throne of Glass universe, but Dorian, seeing his transformation from who he is in book 1, I'm currently rereading him. I'm listening to him on Spotify. So I'm currently listening to Throne of Glass, and just that Dorian that we are introduced to, this like kind of like fuckboy prince a little bit, just is kind of seemingly like carefree, just enjoying his kind of riches, enjoying like flirting with the ladies, you know, whatever, kind of seemingly doesn't have a care in the world, to then who he is in Kingdom of Ash, which is the last book in the series. I can't obviously tell you anything about what happens in between those books, but I love his character arc so much. The things that he has went through, the things that he has seen, terrible, horrible, and the fact that he can still remain like a good person through it all. I will forever love him. I mean, I literally named my cat after him. Like, I love his character so much, especially in this one, when he says that he'll bleed whatever color she tells him to. Sir, you didn't have to go that hard, and I appreciate it. Next up, we had to put a billionaire on the list. I mean, we already had Richard Connor Colball, billionaire of all time, but we got to have another billionaire on here. And that is Mr. Christian Harper from Twisted Lies by Anna Huang. Again, literally all of the men of this series. I love each and every one of them. And you probably are surprised that it's not Alex that I'm not included on this list. Listen, I don't know. Today, it's just my mood. I'm picking Christian today, okay? I think the scene that stands out most to me in my head is when it is Taco Tuesday night with Stella, and he knows that her favorite salsa is only available at this one grocery store across the city, and it's closing soon. So instead of like drawing out the torture of this man who touched her inappropriately at a party, he decides, he's like, oh, I gotta get home for Taco Tuesday night with Stella. I gotta go pick up her favorite salsa. Let me speed things up. Literally shoots the man point blank and then dips so that way he can get home for Taco Tuesday night with his girlfriend with her favorite salsa in tow. I'm sorry. I'm not, like, you're telling me I'm not supposed to fall in love with him for that? Couldn't do it. Had no shot of it. I love him. The things that he does for her, the kind of like the softness that he has around her that again he doesn't have around anyone else. Like, he's very ruthless in his business, but then you really only see his kind of like warm side come out with her. I'm always going to be a sucker for that. That is just one of my favorite kind of like tropes of like the he hates everyone but her kind of vibe, and I just, you know, I'm gonna eat it up every time. Now we got another OG. We got another OG all the way back from 2020, and that is Konstantin Kurnikova from the Off Balance series by Lucia Franco. Now this one is a little different because unlike all the rest of the books, we don't get Kova's POV. The things that I would do for these books to be retold but in Kova's POV, oh my god, I'd spend all the money. I'd give my firstborn in order to get his POV from all of these. Like, I would love nothing more than to be inside this man's head over the course of the series, but instead you only get it through Ria's POV, which almost like makes me like him more sometimes because we just have to like infer alongside with her and kind of like if she's being a little delusional, kind of like buy into the delusion a little bit. I think specifically what like makes me love him so much is just his relationship with Ria and the love that they both have for the sport and how it bonds the two of them and how he really is a centering force for her, not only in the chaoticness and the chaos, Jesus Christ, and the chaos of where she's trying to be in her goal of making it to the Olympics and in her gymnastics journey, but also then in everything else that's going on in her life outside of it, how truly like he can center her like no one else and just be truly like a steadying presence. As toxic as they are, listen, okay, could I ever put up with a Kova in real life? Absolutely the fuck not. But in a book, I love it. And truly just the way that he's there for her. Listen, you can't ask for much more. Okay, we're down to our last four, but like I said, these are in no particular order, but I'm going to save this one specifically for last because I do think it's going to be the one that's going to surprise you guys the most that he made it on the list. But let's go with another one that's fairly obvious. And you know what? You want to call me basic? Fine. I don't give a fuck because once again, this man has been an OG for me since like 6 years ago. And that's going to be Reese from the ACOTAR series, okay? I don't care. I truly don't care. I am a Reese defender through and through. I will hear no slander towards this man's name. And I absolutely love him. Once again, I feel like I don't necessarily, well, one, I feel like mostly everyone already knows about these books. But also two, I don't really want to, I guess, say anything because you don't get the bulk of him and like towards his journey and like information, I guess, towards his journey until book 2. So then I can't really like spoil book 1. So I'll just kind of leave it as we know. If you know, you know. And if you don't, then you need to read this series and find out. One of my best friends, she only read, I don't actually even know if she finished the first ACOTAR book. And I'm just like, dude, you have to keep going. You have to keep going. But I absolutely love Reese. Okay, next up then we haven't had a mafia man up until now, and you knew he was coming, Mr. Remo Falcone from Twisted Pride. Listen, does he kidnap her? Yes. But also the care that he has for her, I don't want to hear it. I love him, okay? This is truly like you are willing to die for your woman. Like, he took that to the next level, putting himself in the crossfires in order to like make sure to kind of like repent for everything that he did to her, but then also like on her behalf. And then, you know, once certain things happen and then he realizes things, and then how he is willing to do anything to make sure that she is safe. Like, listen. Also, he's a fighter. He's a capo. He's a little crazy. He's a little, not even a little, he's a lot crazy. Listen, once again, multiple of the Falcone brothers could have made it into here. It could, like, Nino was a contender. And also Fabiano. He's not a Falcone, but I do love Fabiano a lot. But, I mean, Remo's always gonna do it for me. I like the crazy ones. What can I say? Second to last, we have God of Wrath. We have Mr. Jeremy Volkov from the Legacy of God series. by Rena Kent. This is, I think, the newest edition. I read this book last year and I have never stopped thinking about it, quite frankly. I'm obsessed with him. I was obsessed with him right off the bat. I will say I didn't love him in God of Pain when he was just like Annika's brother, but then getting inside his head. And then as soon as he like kind of locks in on Cecily and like is obsessed with her and can't leave her alone and just like, you know, follows her around on his motorcycle. Shut up. Once again, you're telling me I'm not supposed to fall in love with him? I don't know what you expect from me when he's sneaking into her window at night, you know, or when he's chasing her around in the woods, you know. I don't know. I'm just a woman, okay? But then also as we go through the book and him just not feeling like good enough and questioning, you know, like himself and everything that he had with Cecily, his character growth as well, we absolutely love. He's not just hot, he has depth, as all these men do. But anyways, I'm gonna shut up because this video is getting long and it should not be that long. And last but certainly not least, which I think is why you guys are going to be surprised that he's made this list, because if there's one thing about me, I don't like anything small town. I don't like anything country. I don't like anything cowboy. It's not my vibe. It's not my aesthetic. It's not for me. But a bull rider named Theo Silva, I was gagged at how much I loved this book and how much I loved this man. Also how much I loved Winter too, but again, she'll have her time. Listen, this is a surprise or an accidental pregnancy book. And then like we get a lot of the kid actually around. I don't like any of that. Truly everything that this book is everything that I do not like in books. And yet I loved every single moment of this. I will truly never forget the scene where he finds out about his daughter and like everything that he missed out on. Like I wanted to cry along with him. I was devastated for him. And again, the patience that he has with Winter and how again, he's like ready to jump in and defend her, but he knows that she can defend herself, but he's like always willing to go to bat for her and protect her and show up for her. And just like the way that everything he does basically is for her. Oh, I love him so much. I love him so much. Why is he so hot? I hate everything about like bull riding and country, and yet I was obsessed. So you can't say that my taste doesn't have range, because we're going from crazed mafia man to then a very sweet, kind bull riding cowboy. He made it. I don't know. Maybe it's my softer mood that's like coming out a little bit, because I feel like, you know, I do normally look for very like dark, sad, crazed, kind of insane men in books, or, you know, things morally gray guys that do bad things, like that kind of thing. But I do kind of feel like I'm almost coming around a little bit more to just like the softer guys, or not that Theo's like soft, but just, you know, more like emotionally intelligent and sweet and normal. I don't know. Maybe something's wrong with me that I'm starting to like that a little bit more. I don't know. Okay, then rapid fire honorable mentions. So I have 4 books published so far. Goalie is in the editing process, so it feels real in my head, but I'm not including them obviously because they're not out in the world. So out of my 4 books that I have out currently, I only allowed myself to pick one. Who's my favorite hero out of them all? I don't know if you guys are surprised. I was when I wrote this, because Hayden in my head was not my, I don't know, he just like was never one that I was like, oh, he's my favorite. Like Walker was forever and always my favorite Whisper Me Nothings man. In my head, writing him, whatever. Still, like even as a side character, I absolutely love writing Walker. However, when I was writing this book, there was just something about Hayden. There was something about him that just, I don't know. He just really came through. He really came through. And I don't know, I'd say like probably out of all of the guys that I've written, I guess like even physically, like he's across the board for me. I love a quiet little sad boy, but again, not so quiet. You know, if you know, you know. Tattooed top to bottom. I love him. I love him. Okay, this is editing me here. Excuse the washer in the background, but my brain was just like fried by the end of filming this video, and I really don't feel like I did Hayden any justice, because this man is one of the most, I'd say, like in touch with his emotions and is very like emotionally aware of himself and his own challenges, and he's very aware of never taking those things out on Carter and recognizing that she has her own like emotional and mental challenges and just trying to be there for her in any way. And like the patience that he has for her is the exact same way that I feel like he would want her to be patient with him, and just the way that the two of them then like communicate with each other about that and are just there for each other with that, and his protectiveness of her. That is truly what like surprised me most about him, I guess, was his like emotional intelligence. That, not that I didn't think that he possessed, but that just like really came through when writing him. It's not just that he's tattooed from head to toe and is like super hot and like, you know, quiet but not so quiet. It truly is like, I feel like him being so in touch with his emotions and like him having been through a lot, and it's just given him like a different perspective on life and just kind of like being that calming force and anchoring force like in the band, and then him kind of also being that anchoring force to Carter. It's like, it's perfection. He's perfection to me. My other rapid fires: Draco, Malfoy. But specifically, I've never read Harry Potter. I don't have any plans to read Harry Potter. But specifically fanfic versions of Draco. We picked out Manacled for this one because High Reeve Draco can get it. Ryan Shea from The Right Move. He's just, again, kind of along the lines of Theo, where it's like a real life Theo is actually like a dude that you would like want your friends to be with, you know? And same with Ryan Shea. Like, Ryan Shea is the kind of man that it's like in real life translate well from a book. Love him. Manson from The Losers Duet by Harley LaRue. I feel like if you've read this, I need no further explanation. No further explanation needed. I feel like he kind of fits in the same vein of Hayden a little bit. I feel like they kind of give a little bit of similar vibes sometimes. And then we have Luca Vitiello. He almost made it. He almost made top 10. I think he's probably made top 10 before. However, he did get bumped down. I guess like -1 point for cheating on Arya, but I mean like he did make up for it. But in real life, he would be the one with this splattered all over for that. But I absolutely love Luca, Throat Crusher, Vitiello. Again, I need no further explanation. And lastly, Creighton King from actually, I just realized no, because I was only choosing one, because I purposely didn't choose Damon down here from, okay, I guess Creighton King's got to go away. But once again, I feel like if you've read it, I need no further explanation. So anyways, that is my favorite heroes, favorite heroes / book boyfriends, top 10 list. Like I said, I'm planning on doing this then with heroines, probably, I don't know when, sometime over the next few weeks. And then I'll also do it with couples as well. So anyways, that is it for today's video, and I will see you when I see ya.